Most products today are not built to last. They say buy it for life, but they're built to be replaced. Not because companies can't make durable products, it's because they choose not to. It may sound extreme, but it's not random, it's a pattern. Now the real question is, if most brands are cutting corners, then which ones are actually worth buying? In this video, I'm going to break down the brands you should avoid, the ones that are overrated, and the few that actually built to last, and more importantly, what separates them. Let's start with the problem, because this is where most people get it wrong. Most brands today optimize for three things: cost, speed, and repeat purchases, not durability. That's why you see plastic replacing metal, sealed components instead of repairable ones. It's like they added electronics where they're not needed to make it look modern and to make it feel advanced. But underneath, it's weaker. Now here's the part most people don't realize. The more complex a product becomes, the more ways it can fail. Let's start with the worst offenders. This are 4 brands you should avoid. They will look good, but they fails where they matters the most. First one, Samsung smart refrigerators. At first glance, they look impressive. Big screens, cameras inside, and smart features everywhere. But here's the problem. The design itself is flawed. The ice maker is placed inside the refrigerator compartment, which sounds harmless, but creates a serious issue. Temperature differences cause condensation. Condensation turns into ice. Ice builds up where it shouldn't, and over time, it jams, it cracks components, and it stops working completely. Now add to that plastic parts under stress, sensitive electronics, and constant temperature changes. You don't get durability, you get failure points. Basically, the pattern is more features equals more problems. Second one, LG front-load washers. Now this one is more subtle because on the outside, it looks like a solid product. But inside, there's a critical weakness. A key structural part, the spider arm, is made from low-grade cast aluminum. And here's why that matters. This part is constantly exposed to water, detergent, and mechanical stress, which creates the perfect conditions for corrosion. Over time, it weakens, it cracks, and eventually it fails. When it fails, the entire machine is compromised. This isn't just wear and tear, it's a material choice problem. Third one, GE appliances, smart ranges. Now let's talk about design decisions, because this is where things get expensive. Modern ovens from GE appliances rely heavily on electronic control boards. But here's the issue. Those boards are placed near heat, and heat is one of the worst environments for electronics. Over time, it damages capacitors, solder joints, and the connections. So what happens? The oven itself is fine. The heating system works, but a small electronic failure can shut the whole thing down. And repairs? It's outrageously expensive. Sometimes it's not even worth fixing. Basically, this is what over-engineering looks like. The fourth one is Whirlpool modern dishwashers. Now this one shows a different kind of trade-off. Older dishwashers used metal grinders to break down food debris. Modern ones, they removed it. Why? To make them quieter, and replaced it with thin plastic components. So now, small debris gets through, the system clogs, and the pump gets damaged. And suddenly, a small issue becomes a major failure. This is the pattern again. Comfort over durability. And here's one bonus. Washer/dryer combos. It's not a brand, but it's a category you should think twice about. These machines combine washing and drying in one unit. Sounds efficient. But here's the reality. Lint builds up inside the system, not where you can clean it easily, and over time deep inside, performance drops, moisture builds, mold starts forming, and cleaning it requires full disassembly, which most people never do, so the machine slowly becomes less effective. Again, not a coincidence, it's a design limitation. Now you have probably noticed the pattern. All of these failures come from the same decisions. Complexity over simplicity, electronics in bad environments, cheap materials and critical parts, and designs that are hard or impossible to repair. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now here's where things shift, because not all brands follow this path. Some still prioritize durability, repairability, and long-term performance. Plus, they don't always look flashy, but they're harder to find. By the way, if you have any experience with these brands, share them in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So now you've seen the worst, the obvious failures, the brands that collapse under real use. But here's where it gets more uncomfortable. The next group going to be brands that tricks you. They doesn't look bad. In fact, they look good. They feel premium. They're marketed as high quality. And that's exactly the problem. The overrated brands. These are the brands people trust. They're not complete garbage, but they're also not what people think they are. I call it the modern appliance trap. This isn't just one brand. It's a whole category. Appliances that come with touchscreens, Wi-Fi, app control, and smart features no one actually needs. Let's be clear. None of this makes the product last longer. In fact, it does the opposite. Because now you're adding sensors, circuit boards, and software dependencies, all inside environments with heat, moisture, vibration. That's not innovation. That's stacking failure points. And here's what happens over time. The smart features break first, then the control system fails, then the entire product becomes unusable. Not because the core function is broken, but because the system around it failed. This is where most people get fooled. They think more features equals better product. But in reality, more features equals shorter lifespan. We know modern products are designed to be quieter, smoother, and more refined. Sounds like an upgrade. But here's what gets sacrificed: the strength. We already saw it with dishwashers, but it happens everywhere. To reduce noise, brands remove metal components, heavy-duty parts, robust mechanisms, and replace them with plastic, thin materials, or weaker systems. So yes, it's quieter, but it also breaks faster, handles less stress, and fails under real use. You're trading durability for comfort. I call it the premium illusion. Now, this is where things get expensive. Some brands position themselves as high-end, professional grade, or built to last. But when you actually look at the product, it doesn't match the image. You'll see plastic where there should be metal, sealed units instead of serviceable parts, or designs that look good, but aren't built for stress. And the price? It's unreasonably high. So what are you really paying for? Branding, perception, not actual durability. And this is where people lose the most money, because they think they're investing when they're just overpaying for average quality. Now let's shift a little bit, because not everything is bad. Some brands are actually decent. They won't fail immediately. They can last years. They do their job. But here's something to remember. They're not built for life. But what does good actually means in today's market? A good product usually has acceptable materials, reasonable design, and some level of reliability. But it also has limits. You'll still find plastic in non-critical areas, parts that wear out over time, and limited repair options. So eventually, it will fail. But not all brands play this game, and at the end, I'll show you the ones that are actually built to last for decades. And you may ask why good isn't enough. They say, it works fine. It lasted a few years. That's good enough. But if you zoom out, it's still a cycle. Buy, use, replace, repeat. And over time, that costs more. So the goal isn't just good. The goal is to break the cycle. Now look at the pattern. Again, compare everything so far. Bad products fail fast. Overrated products fail unexpectedly. Good products still fail eventually, different speeds, but same outcome. And the reason is always the same. They are not designed for long-term ownership. They are designed for replacement. Now, here's where things change, because a small number of brands reject this entire model. They don't chase trends. They don't overload features. They don't optimize for replacement cycles. They focus on something else: durability, simplicity, and repairability. Not because they're old-fashioned, but because they're engineered differently. So now you've seen both sides, what fails and what pretends to be good. Now let's get to what actually matters. The buy-it-for-life brands. The brands that don't follow the system. They focused on one thing, making products that last. There is not such a perfect brands, but this brands follow a completely different philosophy, simple design, stronger materials, and easy repairable systems. And you can notice the difference immediately. First one we have, Speed Queen washing machines. This is what a washing machine supposed to look like when it's built to survive. No unnecessary screens, no fragile electronics everywhere. Instead, mechanical timers, steel internal components, and a design based on commercial machines, not home appliances. It's the laundromat level durability. That's the difference. These machines are designed to run day after day, cycle after cycle, for decades. 20 years is even normal for them. Now compare that to most modern washers that has more features, more complexity, and more failure points. Speed Queen does the opposite. Less features, more durability. And that's exactly why it lasts. Second one, Honda GX series, small engines. This is where engineering discipline shows. The GX series isn't flashy. You won't see smart features, complicated systems, or unnecessary upgrades. What you get instead is precision, consistency, and reliability. These engines are known for one thing. They start with the first pull, even after sitting, even in bad conditions. And that's not luck. It comes down to tight engineering tolerances, well-designed carburetors, and proven internal components. But here's the bigger advantage, their parts availability. You can find replacement part easily, even decades later. That means the engine doesn't expire. It stays usable. That alone separates it from most of the modern equipment. On the third one, we have Lodge cookware. This is probably the simplest example, and also the most extreme, because this product has almost zero failure points. No electronics, no coatings that wear out, just solid cast iron. And that changes everything. It doesn't degrade the same way as modern cookware does. Instead, it improves over time. The more you use it, the better it performs. It develops natural non-stick properties. It becomes more reliable. And if something goes wrong, you don't need to replace it. You just fix it, clean it, re-season it, and like that, it's back. That's why these can last 50 years, 100 years, or even longer. Not because they're special, but because they're simple. Now, look at the pattern of these brands that follow the same rules. Simple, greater than complex. Mechanical, greater than electronic. Repairable, greater than disposable. This is not a coincidence. This is engineering philosophy. And once you understand it, you don't need a brand list anymore. You can walk into any store, look at any product, and immediately see if it will last or will it fail. If this video was helpful, give it a like. And if you're looking for the easiest way to remove any rust with a secret $1 product, check out this video. It explains everything you need to know.